Everyone, I go by the name of Camilio Salamander and my co-host KB the Mark.
Cause I'm a fucking mark for this shit.
You are watching the featured #1 wrestling podcast show on YouTube. With that being said, welcome to the DB podcast.
Salamander, we got a little bit of news to talk about today. A couple of things I was looking up and just wanted to get your opinion on, just to see what are you thinking when I tell you what I was just so happened to be looking up today. First off, Tucker says WWE lied to his face multiple times. Now this is via WrestleTalk, WrestleTalk.com. Tucker was just part of the recent releases. I remember the day he was released, he had posted something on Twitter saying he has a story to tell. Did you see that tweet?
Yes.
Okay. So now that we know, go ahead.
No, I'll just say yes.
Okay. So here's what he told WrestleTalk. I was never told about the split, really. The first time I found out that it might happen was at TV's the day that we did the Talking Smack segment for the draft. I found out a couple hours before that, hey, we're going to do this Talking Smack thing where they're going to say that, but it wasn't like a hard split, really, because they were just putting us on different brands and they were kayfabing everybody on what was up. And then a few weeks later, we do the El Gran Gordo thing with Otis in a mask pretending not to be Otis. And then I think the split happened 2 days after that. I wasn't booked that day. The day the split happened, I wasn't booked to be on the show that day. And then I got a call at 1 p.m. saying, hey, we need you to come to the arena. I'm like, okay. And then I wasn't even told until, I don't even know, 3:30 or 4, what was going to go down. And that plans changed a couple times. And looking back on it, I don't know this, but I'm very sure I feel confident that the way that it happened was so that I wouldn't ask a bunch of questions, and so that I would kind of be frazzled into doing it, which is exactly what ended up happening. What do you have to say about that?
Well, first of all, when WWE separated Otis and Tucker, I knew it was bound for Otis to either slip down to NXT or he was gonna be the next one out, because they could have not nothing because he's not a bad wrestler, nothing like that. It's mainly because WWE didn't do nothing with him. They didn't use him or nothing like that. They could have did something, made that into a storyline or anything. They didn't do it. Especially once they start doing the Mandy Rose storyline, it was a wrap. They was not gonna get back together no time soon. But one thing I don't like, they broke up a tag team, had him do a singles run, not even a year, just for a few months, just to put him back in the tag with a different person. I believe it. They lied to him. Yeah. It happened. I'm pretty sure everybody who's been released, even in the past, they've been lied to. It's WWE. Shoot. They could have did something. They could have signed them. I'm not signed them, but they could have brought a good storyline. They could have had him turn heel and had him see the growth for Otis and just play that jealous role. They could have told that story, but they didn't. Shoot, that's why they I think personally that's why they broke them up, because it's just to find a way they got the person that they really wanted, which was Otis. So they broke him up because they knew he was gonna get lost in the shuffle, and then release him. Every tag is that one person that's always the favorite, and eventually they get that singles push, and then the other tag get lost in the shuffle and stuff. Unless they bring them back into a tag, but I mean, it happened to Jeff and Matt. Jeff was always a favorite. It just so happened Matt Hardy, he didn't get lost in the shuffle. To me, I mean, he didn't make it to the main event scene, but he was still that dominant mid carder. So he didn't get lost in the shuffle, but Jeff was still that favorite out that tag. It's always that one.
So here's my problem with everything. I'm probably in the minority with what I'm going to say, but I was never too impressed with Heavy Machinery. But I always felt that Tucker was the better wrestler. I felt that at best, Otis was a comedy gimmick. You know, the big guy who can sort of move for real, and he's got the worm and, you know, the kip up. But nothing really impressed me. I was always more impressed with Tucker. Well, then they give Otis Money in the Bank, but then they don't know what to do with him. I have the perfect idea. Have him cash in on the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. It is a Money in the Bank. He can cash in for any championship that he pleases.
That would be the first ever.
Exactly. Why not break new ground? Because the last time I checked, Money in the Bank guarantees you a title match, right?
Yup.
It doesn't specify which. Most people just use it to take it to the top. Well, this is a change. Tag team guy, they cash in on the tag team champions. It should still count as a title match, no matter who wins it. Whether it's a guy in a tag team or it's a singles guy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, am I making sense?
Yeah.
And then you turning heel, Tucker. You turn Tucker heel, having cost Otis Money in the Bank, and then you don't even go anywhere with that storyline. You just drop it. None of it makes sense. And then when I read this, and I'm like, oh, y'all didn't even have the guts, the intestinal fortitude to sit here and tell him what the fuck was about to happen? You want to just bring him along? I hear shit about this company all the time, and I tell myself they can't get any lower. That's literally like us working a regular 9 to 5, and the boss waits until we finish our shifts and then fires us.
That does happen.
It does happen. But am I in the ballpark of what the fuck just happened?
Nah, that's not the same thing.
Do you have anything more to say about this? Because I'm truly disgusted.
Not really. I mean, you know, I think had them as a tag, if they would have kept them as a tag, they had to do something sooner, because realistically, I don't see them doing anything like reaching the tag team titles or anything like that, like doing anything dramatic. Like if they were still a tag, they'd probably be 2 times at the most. So they had to pull the plug and had to make a call.
I mean, I understand that, but look at where you're at now. And just to touch on what you said, you broke up a tag team to give Otis a singles run, not even a year, and you put him back in a tag team. We could have just kept Tucker and kept fucking Heavy Machinery. They were fan favorites. Right. And we coming back to fans. Oh, I bet they would love to see them some Heavy Machinery. This fucking company, man. This fucking company. Moving on. This next report comes from Wrestling Inc. SummerSlam co-main event. I'm not sure if you know, Salamander, but the being reported main event for SummerSlam is John Cena versus the Tribal Chief, the head of the table, the WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns. But how would you feel about Seth Rollins versus Edge co-main eventing SummerSlam?
Seth Rollins versus Edge. Only if we don't get recent Edge. If he can, like, this whole time off, if he's been working on his in-ring game, because like he got it in him, but you could tell he's been gone for some time because he's still kind of rusty and slow a little bit. But I could like if he work on it some more, like it was like this whole time he been gone for at least like 2 months since April. Yeah, so about 2 months. Yeah, so if he took that time and actually was in the performance center, putting in some work and everything like that, then I could see this match being a potential 5-star. But if we gonna get the same edge that we had got at WrestleMania and at the Royal Rumble, he looked good. But if we get that edge at WrestleMania, I don't want to see it.
So here's my thing. I would love for this to be a co-main event. It truly depends on what they have the almighty Bobby Lashley doing, which we'll be touching on that here shortly. It depends on what they have the almighty doing. But if he's not doing nothing and they tell a story with Seth Rollins versus Edge, that kind of puts me back in that ultimate opportunist Edge. And I start to see glimpses of that because, to be honest, we're never really going to get that Edge. That was before the neck injury.
Yeah.
But if we can get maybe 50% of that ultimate opportunist and you tell a fantastic story with Seth Rollins, I don't have a problem with this being the SummerSlam co-main event. Because you know what you're going to get from Seth Rollins and you know what you're going to get from Edge. And I, honestly, depending on how they book that John Cena Roman Reigns match, that Seth Rollins versus Edge might be the match of the night. You saw what Seth Rollins and Cesaro did. I think Seth Rollins versus Edge might be that times 10. And they said that SummerSlam card is going to be stacked.
Yeah, I could see it. The best really, because I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
But SummerSlam gonna be stacked. Gonna be a stacked show. We already know that. They say it's gonna be like a 2.0 of WrestleMania because it's the next big pay-per-view with fans. So they're trying to go all out. Expect the Money in the Bank to be cashed in. And my question for you, who do you want to see carrying the Money in the Bank? Men's and women's.
So, no lie. I would want the Money in the Bank to be won by Matt Riddle. And when Matt Riddle goes to cash in, because you could put this angle at SummerSlam, because we all know we're building towards the Randy Orton betrayal. So the Almighty could have the match with whoever he's fighting at SummerSlam. Let it be a nice little match where he exerts a lot of energy. Next thing you know, Matt Riddle is skating down on the scooter with Money in the Bank. Except for Randy Orton is with him. He cashes in before the... See, I wouldn't want to have Matt Riddle win off of disqualification, but he would go to cash in. And as the referee is getting ready to ring the bell, we do the Randy Orton RKO, screwing Matt Riddle out of his cash in. And the Almighty walks away, still the WWE champion. And now, because this is going to be, like you said, a WrestleMania Part 2, that is a huge angle, especially when we've been building RK Bro up, to have Randy Orton betray him at SummerSlam and cost him his chance at the WWE Championship.
I like it, but I don't at the same time because it ends like it. I won't say it destroys the Money in the Bank, but it's like it was an unuseful cash in, but a cash like something that we never seen before because it's a cash in that didn't even get to start. Like once the bell rings, RKO and the bell ring again. So I mean, I like it because we building up to something bigger, but then it's like with the Money in the Bank, especially what be happening, how they be treating the Money in the Bank the last previous years. But I can see that something that WWE would do too, because how they've been treating the Money in the Bank.
But here's the thing, and this is what people don't understand. You don't, just because you win Money in the Bank doesn't mean that you have to cash in and win a title.
We haven't seen that in a while, of somebody cashing in and actually winning. It's all been like unsuccessful.
The Miz cashed
in. Yeah, I mean that's it though, but that title reign didn't last long. Like, we'll go back to like the Edge, where he held it for like 200 plus days, cashed it in, won it. They held the belt for another 200 days. Or the CM Punks who held it, cashed in, and you know, they actually became something bigger and stuff. Like, build that back up. That way we can get the Drew McIntyre and all the big names in the Money in the Bank instead of these mid carders and one or two big names, because they don't get care about the Money in the Bank like that. Because how, you know, they give it to somebody, they had them go out there, lose in a roll up or something like that. It's just like, what's the point? It's like, because before somebody had the Money in the Bank, and because it was a chance to cash in and get a title opportunity. So you had the Chris Jerichos, the Kanes, the CM Punks, and the big names. And at the time, it was one or two mid carders instead of mid carders and one or two main eventers on there. So whoever wins, it gives that champion, you know, always constantly watching his back, because they actually made you like, this is the actual competitor who I think who can really have a chance to take my title, versus somebody like Kalisto win and you like, man, I ain't worried about him. He just gonna lose in a squash match. Like, that's the type of stuff they currently doing.
But, I mean, but let me ask you this, Salamander. Out of both of those rosters, who's cashing in on the Almighty and who's cashing in on the head of the table, and you're believing it?
I got you.
Outside of a Drew McIntyre.
I got you. Nobody cashing in on the Almighty. Why? Because nobody on Raw is worthy enough. He went through the whole roster for real. It's no need. If it's gonna be a cash in, if somebody gonna win it, it's gonna be a SmackDown superstar. Nobody on Raw deserve it.
First off, don't disrespect my tribal chief.
It's gonna be Cesaro. He gonna win it, and he gonna be the one that actually cash in and beat Roman, if it's possible. Roman might get, you know, he might retain with the help of Jimmy and Jay, but I could see that if he gonna lose it in the cash in, it's gonna be with Cesaro. I'm not saying like nobody on Raw is like, it's just the storyline wise, Raw been so horrible lately, and SmackDown, you know, they building up certain people's. They got other people that can, you know, be in that scene. Nobody on Raw, because, you know, Drew McIntyre, he went through everybody, and Drew McIntyre can't even beat Bobby. They face off like 3-4 times, so there's no need for anybody to even. It don't make no sense, because, and like, he basically, if he beat if Drew McIntyre basically ran through the whole roster and he can't get to the number one spot. He had 4 chances, can't get to it. Bobby Lashley basically beat the whole roster. There's no need for him to face anybody. But on SmackDown, you feel me? They building up Ray, Dominique. They building up Seth. They building up Cesaro. They got people that could potentially be in that scene, so it'd be believable if a Cesaro wins the Money in the Bank, cash in on Roman, and then, you know, win.
I'm sorry, Salamander. I just don't see anybody who would even cash in on the Tribal Chief on SmackDown. He's went through SmackDown just like Drew went through Raw. To me, it has to be a Raw superstar, and you go with the high hand of Matt Riddle and Randy Orton, because the story that you're telling is the betrayal of Randy, and what bigger way to tell that betrayal by letting Matt Riddle win Money in the Bank? He goes to cash in and Randy Orton screws him. Then you kind of get that serious side of Matt Riddle, where he's like, damn, I really trusted Randy, and everything that everybody was saying. Because you got to think, this then will draw back the New Day. When Xavier Woods and Kofi was telling him he's a snake, Jeff Hardy said he's a snake. The Viper finally strikes, and he cost Matt Riddle Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
that you have, to me, you've automatically reignited Randy Orton. No lie, he might be the best heel on the roster, even after the tribal chief, because of the moment and how he did it.
You want to know something?
Go ahead.
You still prove my point. Nobody on a Raw roster is worthy enough to even cash in on the Almighty.
And nobody on
He'll
SmackDown.
cash in, but he will lose.
It'll go that way for both champions.
It will, but if somebody on SmackDown cash in on Roman and wins, it's believable because who they building up. Raw not building up nobody to even replace Bobby except for Drew McIntyre, but Drew McIntyre lost to him 4 times, so that's what I mean. It's nobody believable. Yeah, you can tell that story. He cashed in, but it was another story because he got RKO, and that's another thing. But he never successfully cashed in. The match ain't even started. None of that stuff because nobody worthy enough to even try to be a number 2. There's nobody right now on the Raw. On SmackDown, you got like 4 or 5 potential people who could be, the number 2 and stuff. So,
I mean, if I'm going to be fair, because I don't think you're going to be fair.
It might be Jimmy or Jay.
No, if anything, Seth Rollins is the person who I would expect for them to give Money in the Bank to on SmackDown, and that's it. But are we really going to run a Seth Rollins, Randy Orton? I'm sorry, Seth Rollins, Roman cash-in part 2? He already did that at WrestleMania.
That's why it'd be Cesaro because he's next in line. What other way to get Cesaro the belt if you don't want Roman to get beat clean?
But Cesaro wouldn't beat the tribal chief.
Look,
it would be a failed cash-in with no storyline.
No, they could still capitalize off it because he didn't have his part 2 when he faced Roman. So look, SummerSlam he faced John Cena. They have I won't say a 5-star, but they have a good of a match. You feel me? They go on for I'll say 20 plus minutes, right? Roman exhausted, but he still got enough energy just to fight for the extra fight for the Money in the Bank cash in. Cesaro come out, cash in, you feel me? Cesaro's fresh. And Cesaro, he can go the distance. So that's no problem for him. Plus he's fresh. He come in and do his thing, spin him around a couple of times, get him dizzy, whatever, hit his move and all this stuff. And it'd be believable that way. Because of Roman, he just got out of this tiring match, especially if they could put on the good one and the hype between John Cena coming back and everything. This can be a potential good match. So all that stuff happens, he's exhausted. That's the storyline. That's the fact that he only got him because he's exhausted and stuff. Plus he just went through hell with John Cena.
So let me ask you this question. What do you think the fans are going to say to that?
They might be, I can see them being happy. Cesaro got his. It just depends on how they booked the match before, how they booking his cash in, and how the match after the cash in play out. If the match, I think it really depends on the match after the cash in. The match after the cash in can play out good, then they could take off. But yeah, just for Roman being exhausted, I really believe that if they really tell a match, that cash in match, if that match is great, it would be believable. Because if it'd be different if they wasn't building him up. They building him up right now, so it's believable.
I'm sorry, Salamander. I'm so sorry. I feel like that'll be booed out of the arena. You could literally destroy a pay-per-view like that. We both know you're either going to start good and finish bad, or finish bad and start good. And do you really believe that the head of the table, the tribal chief, the guy with the greatest storyline, losing to Cesaro just because he went the distance with somebody else? I don't think that's believable. Because I believe my tribal chief has more to give. I don't think my tribal chief has a limit. Because he's already proven he can go the distance with Cesaro. And if they were going to do a cash-in like that, where it was Cesaro, there's only one way out of it. Because you can't put that belt on Cesaro. Roman's already went through him. You have to do a DQ finish.
All right, so what once he come running down, he go ahead and like attack him with some weapons and everything, then cash in.
The fact, I don't think
you got to do what you got to do to get him down.
I don't think either champion can be cashed in on, Salamander. That's my point. They have been booked that strong, and I don't think anybody has been booked strong enough for a successful cash in on either side. That's all I'm saying. It would have to be somebody you would, because if you can't do a cash in, what you would want to do is at least be able to tell a story with the Money in the Bank briefcase. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And why not tell that story with Randy Orton and Matt Riddle? And then eventually, because now you freed up the almighty WWE champion while making Randy Orton the top heel in the company again. Now you can put Randy Orton, after he takes care of Matt Riddle, you can put him into that WWE Championship picture again against the almighty WWE Champion Bobby Lashley. Now that takes care of Lashley at least until the Royal Rumble. So where then we decide, do we want to have the Royal Rumble winner dethrone one of these two guys? Around that time, I think they would have built somebody up on both sides to where you can easily consider it. That's all I'm saying. I do see your idea, and a part of me likes it as a Cesaro fan, but just as a regular wrestling fan, I wouldn't want to see that. Not when the guy who you're gonna have get cashed in on has the hottest story in the company and actually the wrestling business. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't make no sense to take the belt off of him. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, it could be for a brief moment, just until like the next pay-per-view, but just the fact like they could tell that story that just to give Cesaro some more clout, like he was the one to dethrone Roman, but then you can also tell the story that he only dethroned him because he was exhausted.
I mean, but what would be the point of giving him a 15 to 30 day title run? Like the guy who dethrones either the Almighty or the head of the table, they should hold that belt until probably next year's WrestleMania or at least SummerSlam, because you got to think, you have to build that person up to where it's believable. I mean, come on, Salamander, honestly, look on the Raw roster, look on the SmackDown roster. Who can beat those two champions?
SmackDown, I could see Seth Rollins.
Exactly. That's my point from what I said earlier. I could only believe Seth Rollins, but why would you do that twice?
We didn't have a one-on-one though.
It's a cash in with Roman Reigns in the match.
Yeah, true. But we didn't want to see Roman as champion at the time.
Exactly, and now we don't want Roman to drop the belt. So now you're in a lose-lose. At least when you did it the first time, Seth Rollins was making history, and it was something that nobody expected. It was literally the heist of the century. But moving on, Salamander. The next story is coming via Bleacher Report. Big E rejoining the New Day. So it's being reported that after SummerSlam, there's going to be a draft. I think it's the 9:30 show, which is the Monday after SummerSlam, and then the Friday night SmackDown that same week. And apparently it's being reported via Bleacher Report that Big E is going to be drafted to Raw, return with the New Day, but he'll still have his singles career, and he's going to be starting a rivalry with the almighty WWE champion, Bobby Lashley. What do you have to say to that?
I don't want to see it.
What?
Nah, because I don't want to see Big E in the main event scene until he get more to say. I want to see Big E when he was Big E Langston in the main event scene. I want to see that Big E. I don't want to see New Day Big E. I don't want to see that in the main event scene. I don't want to see like New Day, Big E. It is. We already seen that for real. We got it with Kofi. With Kofi won, he won the belt for all three of them. That's how they all gonna be. But I don't want to see that. Unless they's gonna turn heel and be more serious, then boom. But I don't want my main champion to be all smiley and all that goofy shit. I don't want to see that. Like my champion should be how the Almighty is and Roman is. Like that's how they should be. They and even previous champions, Goldberg when he won it, the Fiend when he won it, shit, I can keep going. Braun Strowman when he had the belt. Like everybody was serious and stuff. I don't want to see that first person that just cheesing and just skipping to the ring and everything. No, let's be serious. I don't want to see every day a fan favorite, but no, I don't want to see that. Nah, like we already got enough of that with Kofi.
Salamander, what you're saying is you're not trying to see two beefy guys slapping beef? Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I don't want to see if we gonna get the Roman and the Big E, give me serious Big E. If we gonna get the New Day feuding with Roman and his cousins, we can go ahead and tell the story where they're basically getting their ass beat by the tribals. You feel me? They get their ass whooped and then they get serious. They turn like that whole gimmick change. Then I can go ahead and see it. But this pancake throwing, they're gonna go back to doing that and all this stuff. And you could supposed to be competing for the main title, the breadwinner, the money maker of the company. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see you skipping to the ring and this is the biggest night of your career because you getting a title opportunity and you skipping to the ring and you sliding in the ring, humping the ring, being like playing a lot. I don't want to see that. If you're gonna do that shit, keep that shit in the main card for the Intercontinental or the United States Championship. Keep that there. Don't bring that to the main event scene. Nobody in the main event scene plays.
Salamander. So, I feel like I struck a nerve. Are you upset that they're about to move him to Raw and go against the Almighty? Is that fear that I sense? Are you scared that Big E might topple the Almighty?
No, I'm mad because of the simple fact is I don't want to see. I just don't want to like if he gonna get serious, then that's fine. But I don't want to see nobody being all goof like when Enzo was wrestling. I don't like if that was gonna be his whole gimmick. I don't want to see him in the main event scene. It was goofy and everything. Like I don't want to see who else was goofy? Hurricane. He shouldn't be in the main event scene. That's goofy. I don't want to see that stuff in the main event scene. That's all I'm saying. But my thing is too, like, what's the point of putting him back with the New Day if just to keep his singles push? Y'all just putting the New Day back behind him because y'all not booking him right. Don't nobody want to see if he's gonna be single. Why is he singles Big E but on SmackDown? That don't make no sense. Like he's still New Day Big E, but he just separate from them. But on SmackDown, his theme song is similar. His motherfucking Titantron is similar. Even though say Big E still got the New Day colors and all that shit. They never separated him. That's why his singles push is not working. If you gonna do it, you have to separate. Especially if they're on different shows, you have to separate him. His attire should have changed. His music should have changed. His attitude should have changed. His Titantron, all that stuff should have changed. You can't keep him with the New Day and then move him on a different show and expect that to work. Like, no. Because all you doing is reminding people that he was a part of the New Day at the end of the day. That's all they're going to see. So it don't make no sense. And they just putting him back on Raw just to have the New Day behind him just to continue his single push. Like, change his whole gimmick. That's all you got to do. We only want to see Big E like that if he's with the New Day. If he's by himself, we don't want to see that.
I can definitely agree with you. I joke with you a lot about the Almighty. I don't think that is fear, but I can definitely agree. The main event is not for pancake throwing, toast throwing, ring humping. There's a level of seriousness you gotta have for me to respect you as a guy in the main event, a top guy. And when I think of top guys, I think of the Romans, I think of the Bobbies, I think of the AJs, I think of the Seth Rollins, Cesaro, Daniel Bryan. Those guys, Drew McIntyre. Those guys embody main event, top guys, guys you can build a company around.
One thing I want to say, not to cut you off.
Go ahead.
But the Miz, he pretty goofy sometimes, right?
Right.
But when the Miz is at the main event scene, he was still serious.
True.
That's it.
True. Outside of this time with Morrison, because that's just their thing, but when the Miz was the Intercontinental Champion and he was with the Miztourage, and because I feel like that was one of the times he was at his peak, there was a seriousness about that Intercontinental Championship. It could be in the main event.
Because he cherished the history of the belt and respected it.
Absolutely.
The championships now, they don't. And I'm not saying it's the wrestlers that don't show no respect to it, but it's WWE with the booking and everything that they're doing. It's not giving, like, how am I supposed to respect your title and you booking it this way? You show me you don't care. So why should I as the fan?
True. Very true. Well, the last story for today, our favorite tag team that was in WWE. The Iconics' new tag team name confirmed. And this is from WrestlingNews.net. It reads, former WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, the Iconics, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, applied to trademark the term The Inspiration on June 15th with the United States Patent and Trademark Office under their real names, with the filing made through Michael E. Dawkins, who has helped AEW superstars and independent wrestling talents to secure their trademarks. What you thinking about?
That just means AEW confirmed. That's all I heard. That's all I heard. Especially when you say that one guy who helped AEW signings get their trademarks. Yeah, he playing some works. They about to sign.
I honestly see them going to Impact, getting in that Knockouts division. Getting a new tag team, because I want to see gold around the Inspiration, which is what they're going.
So would you, on their terms? I think they're gonna go for the publicity more. So don't nobody watch Impact for real. If they're watching it now, it's because Kenny Omega. But anybody, and even with Kenny Omega dropped the belt, they're not tuning back in. Don't nobody watch the Impact. They're gonna go to somewhere where somebody is watching, which is gonna be AEW. So when they make their debut on TNT, that's gonna blow up the internet. And then, especially if they start booking them right in the tag division, because both WWE and AEW can work on the tag division. They can work on that women's division, all that stuff, right? So if they go in there and make a good impact, they can flip that whole division upside down. So do they currently have tag titles?
No, they don't, and that's what I was about to say.
They can go ahead and start that. Be the ones to start it.
So here's my thing. I do see where you're going. I believe you have to have tag belts for the Iconics to walk into. And AEW doesn't have that. Impact has that. So I feel like that would be the place to where they go. But I'm not going to hold you. I'm not going to lie to you, Salamander. I marked out when I saw Andrade, El Idolo.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck I might do if I see the Iconics on TNT. I'm sorry, the Inspiration. Salamander, I don't know what I do. I might break my TV. I might go nuts.
I could see it happening. I'm telling you, it's gonna happen. Like I said, like we had this conversation before, I just hope they don't go down the TNA route and signing all these WWE talents, and then eventually that's the downfall. I just hope they just book, if they're gonna do and sign some WWE talents. I just hope they book it smart.
Well, like I've said before, the problem that TNA did is they hot shot every WWE guy to the moon. In AEW, that's not happening. You come in, you play your role. They thought Christian was going hot shot his shit to the moon. He got his shit brought down to earth real quick. Now he feuding with Matt Hardy. Just because you're from WWE does not mean you stop what Tony Khan already had planned. They were bitching about Miro, but Miro had to play his role in AEW. Now they can't get enough of him. Have you heard his promos?
Mm-mm.
This man is talking about, I want to thank the Lord Jesus Christ for giving me my strength and power, and also for blessing me with a hot wife. This man Miro is on another level.
Oh, Lana confirmed.
Oh yeah, fact. But I don't want to see Lana with him.
Oh, yeah, they're gonna do that.
Of course they're gonna do it.
I think that's what he's shooting for. I mean, it makes sense. Sure, I went to this other promotion. I'm popping.
I mean, as long as she's
come
not,
on, about to put my back. We about to get Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth Part 2.
I mean, as long as she's not out there doing the Russian shit, then AEW
is he
found
Russian
a way
on
to
there?
make it work. No,
He's got a Russian name.
I don't know if Miro is Russian, but
It sound like it. I don't know.
I mean, that's his real life wife. I guess she could be his valet. I mean, and the way that nigga Miro talking, he really don't need her as a mouthpiece. So she would really just be a valet escorting him to the ring.
Thought she originally was.
Yeah. But that's all I have for us today, Salamander. That's all I got.
All right, guys, that's it. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the DMB Podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until then, we'll see you on the next one.